Started then. Okay, so welcome to our Louffa Press webinar series on immigration. That's Louffa Press has a new initiative. We are branching out into something. It's a bit of an extension of our. We had some television appearances on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, in which we were extending a conversation towards the larger community. This is a similar kind of extension of the public face, in which we are including now events that focus on a range of social, political, of course, literary, but also cultural topics. But Louffa Press originally is a letterpress publishing based originally in Harlem, Morningside in New York. And the focus originally is letterpress publishing, so small, very small editions of letterpress work. But in the 2020s, we're shifting towards more public conversations and other venues as well. So it's Zoom webinar such as this one is online that we're doing, and artist books as well. But right now we're doing a webinar on the subject of immigration. We have three wonderful and amazing guests, and I'll introduce each one of them. We have Beatriz Albuquerque, Simone Federman, and Carlos Pereira. So for each of our guests, I'm going to introduce them, a short bio, and then we'll listen to their own presentations, and then we'll get a little bit of their perspective on why we're all here. Okay, so all right, so we'll go ahead and start. Introducing our first panelist is Beatriz Albuquerque. So Beatriz Albuquerque is an interdisciplinary Portuguese artist living between New York and Porto, Portugal. Awards include the Breakthrough Award for the 17th Biennial Silveira Myers Art Prize Award from Columbia University, New York, and the Premio Ambient Performance Series Pack Edge Performance Festival in Chicago. So please welcome Beatriz Albuquerque.
Well, I want to thank everyone that is present, Louffa Press, David, Carlos Pereira, Simone Federman, for also coming in this dialogue from all of us. And I also want to thank you, Plaque Shuttle from City Hall and North and France and Turquoise, because in their case, they sponsor my project. I thought of talking a little bit about my project, and I prepared a tiny video. So when you see the video I'm talking, you can see some images, what happened. So I'm going to share now screen with the video, no sound. So just hold a moment. When we deal with technology, that is always fun. So I think you can all see, right?
Yes.
So this is a little bit, I started this year a new project called Wonder Memories, and it's about immigration. As you know, I'm between, which means I live a lot of years more in the United States, I'm from Portugal, and we all have stories that come within. In this scale is Antonio O Pequeno Barbudo. I chose some of them, but there is more. And I started doing this because there's all these stories, these memories, this imagery, and I'm Portuguese. So I thought, what about the Portuguese immigrants that go out there? What happens, their stories, how do you capture that and keep a live archive of all their rich memories, of all their rich moments, some more struggling, less struggle, but also how do you keep it alive and how you transform it in an art form also, so you don't get just an archive with the interviews and all, but you also get an extension on it through a body of art. And I'm Portuguese, so I thought, I was invited 2 years ago to do a residency in France, then COVID kicked in. So then I thought, okay, they didn't tell me which topic, and I thought one topic I never explored was immigration, and then I thought, what about Portuguese immigrants that go to France? And I start with the year of Tourcoing, Louffa. Now I branch out more, so I have like a category of the stories around France from Portuguese people that went there. I also open a little bit more because sometimes the people already die, but their children know the stories. So in that case, they will tell me the story that their grandparents told them from living there. And this is one of the moments that start. So I went to Turquoise, I talked with different people, and then all people are different. Some want to be recorded, someone want their name on it, someone don't want, they want to be anonymous. Some of them prefer by email, some prefer by Facebook. So then I cater what it is. But what is interesting is when I was in Turquoise, I, for instance, entered a place to buy a bag, and the clerk was Portuguese. He turned to me and said, I'm Portuguese. And I said, great. So how long are you staying here? He says, 1 year. There's other people also. And I said, you want to be part of a project? So a lot of people, it's about other people. This in case he wants to be anonymous. So I just record a part of him. Some people just the hands. Other people, my email, people, some of them chose Facebook and so on. And in his case, he said, I want to be part, but I still don't know if my name, I want it or not. I know I don't want my face, but I want my story to be heard. I think I prefer probably by email. We can still be present, but I will not feel comfortable. So I thought people still feel that urge and that energy to share their story, even if it's anonymous or even if they don't want to give the face or say the name, they still want to put it out there. And that was one way of this project. The other one was this, I did the installation in that nonprofit called the Coffee Ideal in Tourcoing. And people have that questions. There was 3 links, English, Portuguese, or French. And one of the things, because then I create artwork based in their answers, one of the things was actually they could put it in the wall, they can take it with them. So I pick up all that, and I do have the physical archive getting ready because I'm still doing interviews right now. But I also transform my art related, like broidery. Some people allowed me to actually do synotopy when they were being interviewed. And this is one of that, because synotopy, people that know it's a little bit. And based on that, I broidery their sentences. I create synotopies with their bodies if they allow us one more memory archive of it. I also create sculptures, and then I create a performance of 2 moments. One of the moments, it's inside that I have the flag in the beginning to roll. It was a durational piece, and I whistle the musics that they mentioned because I would ask the persons, like you can see in this case, before I open, and that piece of fabric that is the blankets of the people that just arrived to a different country, then opens and becomes a flag. It was a 2-day piece, 4 hours each day. And when I'm inside, I whistle the music because one of the questions I did have was that for them, like, what is the music for you that you symbolize the immigration or symbolize it? So inside, I will whistle that, and then that piece of blanket and all, outside, then it becomes the flag. And that's the flag that I hold with all the symbologies and all that. And for me, was the creator of the piece was more like a memento with all this. And I want to continue doing this. And also more recently, I'm going to also do Ukraine refugees also in Porto in an artist resident called Campos Paletini Silva also, because I want an archive also to be alive, not also creativity in the artwork, but also to take it outside for the people to question. This professor, for instance, he passed by one of the days, and the next day he came inside to also interact, right? Because he actually works with immigrant population, and he thought, oh, it resonates with what people brings and comes to my nonprofit and all. So it's interesting. I did not notice during that time, but when I see the recordings, I was like, oh, this comes up and this. Oh. So that's what I do with this project that I just started. So this is the little presentation that I prepared a little bit just to entice a little the conversation about immigration. I can also say I'm between two countries. Is that immigration? Is it not immigration? I live in Chicago and I studied for like 5 years, and in New York 10 years straight. Only with COVID-19 is that I'm like between. So it's also interesting how this perspective, but I look forward to hear your presentation now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So yeah, I'll go ahead and introduce Simone next, and I hope then I'll introduce Carlos, and then at the end, I don't know if I mentioned, but we'll have a roundtable discussion in which we can all speak to each other. Okay, so we'll have some chance for dialogue, for conversation. So let me introduce Simone. Simone Federman has directed in New York City at such venues such as the Lynn Redgrave Theater, Dixon Place, Ohio Theater, National Action Network, the Present Theatorium, Soho Repertory Theater, the Alchemical Theater, Lincoln Center, recently at Portland Stage Company, Secret City Woodstock, internationally with Bread and Puppet Theater at the World Expo in Hanover, Germany, collaborated with Le Theatrographe, sorry, my pronunciation, at the 59th Avignon Theater Festival. Simone has directed plays and created many original site-specific performance, art, and dance experiences. Simone holds a BA from Oberlin and a graduate degree in directing from the Art Institute for Advanced Theater Training at Harvard University. So please welcome Simone Federman. Simone Federman. Thank you, Simone, for coming.
Hi. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for including me, David. So I know David because David, I believe, was a graduate student of my father's. And I'm an American. My father would always say that. I'm a first-generation American. Both of my parents are immigrants. They're both Holocaust survivors. My father was a writer and taught creative writing at SUNY Buffalo, where I think this is true, right, David? I think that's how I know you. Or maybe I know you through Jen. Well, I don't know. Did you go to SUNY Buffalo, David?
No, but I was a mentor. He was my mentor before I did graduate school at NYU.
Oh, okay.
But he was like a huge mentor for me.
So, I heard and my father had a very thick French accent, almost comically so. And he used to say Moscovich. He didn't use people's first names often. So my parents' stories are very significant to me. And part of that, and I think it's now, my parents are both gone now. And I've been a professor for whatever, 25 years. Because what we're going through in America now with the politics of fascism being so strong in this country and worldwide, and so motivated by the money of American money, whether it was Hitler or whether it's now. And I kind of sit with, well, what is my responsibility as the child of Holocaust survivors to tell this story? And how do I tell this story? Because my politics, I'm very pro-Palestinian. Like, in what way can I connect to my father wasn't religious. I'm from many generations of atheists. It's just, how do we then fit into this story of, well, what happened to us? And I live in Harlem in a predominantly Black building, Black community. And like, in what ways does the racism and anti-Semitism, or is anti-Semitism a form of racism, how they connect? So my father was hidden in a closet by his mother. This is him as a little boy. He was 10 years old. These are his two sisters. They were both killed in Auschwitz. These are his parents that were killed in Auschwitz. This is my grandfather, my grandmother, obviously. I don't know if I'm holding these up long enough. And then this is me and my father. My father and I were extremely close. I always looked like him in photographs. My father, so he hid in the closet. He then went out of the closet and he looked for his parents. And his mother said, when she pushed him in the closet, shh, be quiet, don't say anything. My father always took that as, I should be quiet now, I need to go into hiding. And he hid in the south of France. He actually